Hello guys. Welcome to the Thoughts Club. I hope you are comfortable. Maybe lying down. Or sitting quietly. Allowing your mind to slow down. Tonight, we are not rushing anywhere. There is no goal to reach. No conclusion to force. We are simply going to listen, imagine, and drift into one of the deepest stories science has ever tried to tell. Today's topic is the silent birth of the universe. Before there was light, before time had a meaning, before space had distance, there was silence. Not the silence we know, not the absence of sound in a quiet room, but a silence so complete that even the idea of nothing had not yet formed. No up, no down, no before, no after. Just a state beyond language. And this is where our story begins. When we imagine the birth of the universe, our minds often jump to explosions, fire, chaos, noise. But science tells us something strangely different. The universe was not born screaming. It was born quietly. To understand this, we must first understand what it means for something to begin. Everything we experience has a cause, a moment before, a chain of events. But the universe itself does not fit easily into that pattern, because time itself is part of the universe. So asking, what happened before the universe, is like asking, what is north of the North Pole? The question itself starts to lose meaning. According to modern cosmology, the universe began in a state called a singularity. This does not mean a point floating in space. There was no space. It does not mean a moment in time. There was no time. It means a condition where everything that would ever exist was compressed into an unimaginably small state. Not small inside something. Small as everything. Imagine this carefully. All galaxies, all stars, all planets, all atoms, every thought you've ever had, every breath you will ever take, were once part of the same reality. Not separated, not distant, unified. And yet, this state was not chaotic. It was perfectly balanced. No motion, no direction, no vibration, just potential, like a breath held forever. Then something happened. Not a sound, not a flash, a change, a quiet shift in the nature of reality itself. And this change did not explode outward into space, because there was still no space. Instead, space itself began to stretch. This is where the idea of the Big Bang is often misunderstood. The universe did not explode into space. Space itself came into existence and began expanding everywhere, all at once. No center, no edge, just expansion. Silent, smooth, unstoppable. In those first moments, there were no stars, no atoms, no light, only raw energy. The universe was incredibly hot. Not because something was burning, but because everything was compressed together. As expansion continued, this energy began to cool. And cooling is one of the most important processes in the history of existence. As the universe cooled, energy began to change its behavior, like water turning into ice. Not suddenly, but gradually. This allowed the first fundamental forces to separate: gravity, electromagnetism, the forces that would later shape galaxies and life. All of them were once one. Still, no light. The universe remained dark. For hundreds of thousands of years, there were no stars, no eyes to see, no sound to hear, just expansion, and cooling, and silence. Eventually, energy settled enough to form the first atoms. Simple ones: hydrogen, helium, nothing complex, nothing alive, just building blocks. And even then, the universe remained quiet, dark, peaceful, waiting. This long, silent phase is something we rarely talk about, because humans are drawn to events, to explosions, to drama. But the universe spent most of its early life in stillness, growing slowly, patiently. And this is something worth sitting with, because it tells us something deep. Creation does not need noise. Growth does not need urgency. Sometimes, the most important changes happen so quietly that nothing notices them at first. At this point, the universe was ready for its next transformation, the birth of light, the first stars, the end of total darkness. But that is a story that deserves its own slow unfolding. So we will pause here. Take a breath. Let your mind rest. Inside this early universe, dark, silent, expanding. And when you're ready, we will continue. As the universe continued to expand, it continued to cool. Expansion and cooling became the universe's first rhythm. Not a sound-based rhythm, but a cosmic one. A slow stretching, followed by long periods of stillness. For a very long time, the universe existed in what scientists now call the cosmic dark ages. This does not mean something frightening. It simply means there was no light, no stars, no galaxies, no glowing objects, just vast clouds of hydrogen and helium floating through newly born space. Imagine this carefully. Space was already enormous. Distances were forming, but there was nothing to illuminate them. Darkness was not the absence of life, because life did not yet exist. Darkness was simply the natural state of things. During this time, gravity began its quiet work. Gravity is not dramatic. It does not rush. It does not announce itself. It simply pulls, very slowly. Tiny differences in density began to matter. Some regions had slightly more matter, some had slightly less, and gravity amplified these differences. Over millions of years, hydrogen clouds slowly drifted together, not colliding, not crashing, just falling inward. As clouds collapsed under their own weight, pressure increased, temperature rose. Still no light. Just compression. More waiting. At the center of these collapsing clouds, something critical happened. Energy became intense enough to ignite nuclear fusion. This moment did not come with sound. There was no explosion. There was no announcement. But for the first time, the universe lit up. The first stars were born. Not like the stars we see today. They were massive, short-lived, unstable. They burned fiercely and died quickly. But they changed everything. Light traveled for the first time across open space. Darkness began to retreat. Not suddenly, not completely, but slowly, region by region. This first light did more than illuminate space. It changed matter itself. Radiation from early stars altered surrounding hydrogen. It reshaped the universe's structure. Darkness was no longer uniform. The universe was developing texture. With stars came heat. With heat came movement. With movement came complexity. But silence still dominated. Even with stars burning, space remained quiet. Sound requires a medium, and space was almost empty. The universe was becoming active, without ever becoming loud. A powerful reminder. Silence does not mean inactivity. As the first stars died, they did something extraordinary. They created heavier elements. Carbon, oxygen, iron. Elements that would later become planets, oceans, bodies, minds. Every atom in you was once forged inside a star. Not metaphorically, literally. After those first stars ended their lives, their remnants seeded space. With possibility, new generations of stars formed. Galaxies slowly assembled. Patterns emerged. Time now had direction. Cause and effect became meaningful. The universe had entered its long era of formation, still expanding, still cooling, still silent. And somewhere in this vastness, billions of years later, a small planet would form. And on that planet, matter would learn to think. But before we rush there, it's important to pause, because the universe spent most of its existence before life, before observers, before meaning, and yet, it unfolded perfectly. This tells us something subtle. The universe did not exist for us. We exist because of it. Right now, as you listen to this, space is still expanding. Galaxies are still drifting apart. Stars are still being born and dying, all without sound, all without awareness. The silent birth of the universe was not a single moment. It was a process, one that continues. Even now, as time moved forward, the universe began to organize itself, not by planning, not by intention, but by simple rules, repeating themselves over unimaginable spans of time. Gravity continued its patient work. It pulled matter together, but never all at once. It allowed space to remain mostly empty. And this is important. Even today, if you could count everything that exists, you would find that emptiness dominates reality. Stars are rare. Planets are rarer. Life is extremely rare. Most of the universe is still silent, dark space. This is not a mistake. It is how structure forms. If everything were dense, nothing could move. If everything were crowded, nothing could evolve. Emptiness is not absence. Emptiness is permission. Within this emptiness, matter slowly gathered into vast systems. Galaxies, not small objects, but collections of billions of stars, held together by gravity. Over billions of years, galaxies did not form suddenly. They grew. Small clusters merged. Spiral arms developed slowly. Elliptical shapes emerged from ancient collisions. And still, no sound. Inside galaxies, stars formed in quiet nurseries of gas and dust. Light existed now, but space remained nearly silent. Each star followed a life cycle: birth, stability, change, death. Some ended gently, some collapsed violently. But even the most powerful supernova made no sound in space. Sound is a local experience. The universe itself has always preferred silence. Over time, galaxies drifted apart. Space stretched between them. Expansion never stopped. And this expansion carries a deep implication. The universe is not settling. It is not slowing down. It is becoming more spread out, more isolated, more quiet. This slow drifting apart means that future observers, billions of years from now, may see fewer stars than we do today. Their night sky will be darker, emptier. In that future, the universe will feel older, colder, calmer. This leads us to a strange realization. The universe began in silence, and it may end in silence. But this silence is not emptiness of meaning. It is simply the natural state of a reality that does not speak. Now consider this. The universe did not create consciousness. Consciousness emerged within it, like a whisper, inside a vast, quiet hall. Your thoughts, right now, are among the loudest things in existence. Compared to the universe, the human mind is noisy, always narrating, always labeling, always interpreting. But the universe does none of this. It simply is. And perhaps that is Its quiet lesson: that existence does not require explanation. That meaning is something we add as galaxies formed and evolved, as stars lived and died. Complex chemistry slowly became possible. Elements combined, molecules formed, possibility increased, and eventually, on at least one small world, matter crossed the threshold. It began to observe itself. But before we go there, it is worth resting here, in this vast middle age of the cosmos, a universe full of light, yet mostly empty, active, yet silent. Let this idea sink in. The universe does not rush. It does not worry. It expands patiently, and maybe there is comfort in that. As complexity increased in the universe, it did not do so everywhere. Most regions of space remained unchanged, cold, empty, quiet. Only a few places became interesting. This is another subtle truth. The universe does not distribute complexity evenly. It allows it to appear in rare pockets, like islands in an endless ocean. On some of these islands, stars formed planetary systems. Dust became rock. Rock became worlds. And on at least one of those worlds, conditions were gentle enough for chemistry to slow down. Instead of breaking apart, life did not begin dramatically. It did not announce itself. It began quietly, as a pattern that could repeat itself. Life is not energy. Life is not matter. Life is organization. Atoms had existed for billions of years. Molecules too. But life required patience, stability, time without interruption. The universe provided that. Not intentionally, but naturally. On that small planet, life remained simple. For a very long time. Single cells, repetition, survival. No awareness, no questions, just continuation. And still, silence. Even when life appeared, the universe did not change its behavior. Stars burned the same way. Galaxies drifted the same way. Expansion continued. Life did not matter to the universe. This may sound uncomfortable, but it is also freeing. Meaning was not given. Meaning was created. Eventually, some life became complex enough to sense its surroundings. Light was no longer just energy. It became information. Eyes formed. Nervous systems followed. Memory appeared. And with memory came something new. Experience. The universe had existed for billions of years without being experienced. Now, finally, it was being noticed. Consciousness did not arrive suddenly. It layered itself. Reaction, awareness, reflection. And at some point, matter began to ask questions. This is where silence becomes important again. Because thinking requires stillness. Observation requires patience. Understanding requires time. A loud universe could never have produced minds. The same silence that allowed stars to form, allowed thoughts to exist. When humans look into space, we often feel small, insignificant. But this feeling comes from misunderstanding scale. Yes, the universe is vast, but vastness does not erase importance. A single thought in a quiet universe is not nothing. It is rare. Right now, as you listen, you are participating in something extremely uncommon. The universe reflecting on itself. And still, the universe does not respond. No answers come from the sky. No messages arrive. Only silence. This silence is not rejection. It is neutrality. And perhaps this is the final lesson of the silent birth of the universe. That existence does not explain itself. It allows. As we look toward the future of the universe, we are not looking toward an event. We are looking toward a direction, a gradual movement, toward stillness, The universe is expanding, not slowing, not pausing, accelerating. This expansion is driven by something we barely understand, a quiet force we call dark energy. It does not pull. It does not push in a dramatic way. It simply causes space to stretch more and more easily. Over time, galaxies drift farther apart. Clusters lose connection. Light takes longer to reach anywhere. In the far future, many galaxies will no longer be visible to each other, not because they disappeared, but because space grew too wide between them. Each region of the universe will become more isolated, more alone. Stars will continue to form for a while, but fuel is not infinite. Eventually, star formation will slow, then stop. The universe will enter an era with fewer lights, more darkness, more silence. Existing stars will age. Some will fade gently. Others will collapse into remnants. White dwarfs, neutron stars, black holes. And then, even those will change. Black holes, the densest objects known, are not eternal. Over extremely long timescales, they slowly lose energy. They evaporate, quietly. When the last black hole fades, the universe will contain mostly empty space. Cold, thin, still expanding. No explosions, no final moment. Just less. This possible future is sometimes called the heat death of the universe. But the name is misleading. There is no death, no drama, just equilibrium. Everything spreads out evenly. No gradients, no flow, no change. A universe that has nothing left to do. And notice something important. The universe does not resist this outcome. It does not fight entropy. It does not preserve complexity. Complexity is temporary. Silence is permanent. This does not make life meaningless. It makes it fragile. Your thoughts exist in a very narrow window of time, a brief moment between chaos and stillness. The silent birth of the universe was the opening of that window. Its quiet future will be the closing. And in between, everything we know, civilizations, languages, stories, memories, all of them are patterns that briefly hold together before dissolving. This may feel heavy, but it can also feel calming. Nothing is demanded of you by the universe. No expectation, no judgment. You exist because conditions allowed it, and that is enough. Right now, the universe is doing what it has always done, expanding, cooling, remaining mostly silent. And within that silence, you are allowed to rest. There is no urgency here, no countdown, just a long, quiet unfolding. In the final part, we will gently bring everything together, not with answers, but with perspective. For now, stay still. At the very beginning, the universe did not ask a question. It did not decide. It did not intend. It simply unfolded. From silence came structure. From structure came complexity. From complexity came awareness. And now, here you are, listening, thinking, feeling. This is something extraordinary. When you step back far enough, the universe began in a state where nothing could observe it. No eyes, no minds, no memory. And now, a small part of it is capable of wondering where it came from. The silent birth of the universe did not create meaning. It created space. Space for things to happen. Space for patterns to form. Space for awareness to emerge. Meaning is something that only consciousness can create. And consciousness is rare. Not because it is forbidden, but because it requires very specific conditions. stability, time, silence, too much chaos, and nothing lasts, too much order, and nothing changes. The universe found a balance, not intentionally, but naturally, and in that balance, thinking beings appeared. You are not separate from the universe. You are not a visitor. You are what the universe is doing. In this moment, your thoughts are rearranged stardust. Your body is ancient matter. Your awareness is the universe briefly looking inward. And yet, the universe does not need to be understood. It does not reward answers. It does not punish ignorance. It does not care whether we know its story. The silence remains. This silence is not empty. It is neutral, calm, open. When you feel overwhelmed, remember this. The universe has no urgency. It expands patiently. It allows time to do its work. Nothing is rushing you. Nothing is chasing you. Your existence does not need to justify itself. Just like the early universe, you do not need to make noise to be real. The universe began quietly. It continues quietly. And it will likely end quietly. And somewhere in between, for a short while, you get to experience it. That is not small. That is rare. So if your mind feels heavy, let it rest. If your thoughts feel loud, let them slow. You are allowed to be quiet, just like the universe was when everything began, and just like it is right now. Long pause. This was the silent birth of the universe. Let the silence stay with you. When we think about the universe, we often imagine it as something out there, far away, above us, separate. But that separation is an illusion created by scale. The atoms in your body did not arrive from outside the universe. They were never imported. They were always here, rearranged. Every breath you take is borrowed from ancient matter. Every thought is carried by particles that once drifted silently through empty space. The universe did not end before you began. It simply continued. This continuation is important because it means the silent birth of the universe is not over. It is still happening. Expansion is still ongoing. Space is still stretching. Time is still unfolding. Creation did not stop after the first stars. Creation is not a moment. It is a process. And processes do not need awareness. They only need conditions. The early universe had no preference, no direction, no destination. Yet order emerged. Not because it was planned, but because physics allows patterns to stabilize. This is something we often overlook. Order does not require intelligence. It requires time. Given enough time, simple rules create complexity. Gravity pulls, particles attract, energy spreads. These rules repeat again and again and again over billions of years. Repetition becomes structure. Structure becomes systems. Systems become complexity. And eventually, experience. Now pause here. The universe did not want to create consciousness. Consciousness is a side effect, a rare alignment of chemistry, physics, and long periods of calm. Silence was essential. A loud universe would constantly disrupt itself. Explosions everywhere. Collisions nonstop. No stability. But our universe settled quickly. After its violent infancy, it became gentle, predictable, patient. This gentleness is what allowed you to exist. Stars burn steadily for billions of years. Planets orbit predictably. Atoms remain stable. The universe learned how to wait. Waiting is not an activity. Waiting is restraint. The silent birth was the universe learning not to interfere with itself, and this restraint created room for fragile things. Life is fragile. Thought is fragile. Awareness is fragile. Yet they persist, because the universe does not rush. When humans rush, we break things. When the universe moves, it drifts. This contrast matters. You live in a world that demands speed, deadlines, noise, movement, but the universe has never required haste. It took billions of years to produce the first cell, billions more to produce thought, and it is perfectly fine waiting billions more to fade into stillness. Nothing is late, nothing is early. This perspective can change how you breathe. Right now, your life may feel urgent, but from a cosmic view, it is simply occurring. The universe does not grade existence. It does not measure success. It does not rank experiences. A quiet moment is not less valuable than a loud one. Silence is not emptiness. It is capacity. The early universe was full of capacity. Nothing had happened yet, which meant everything could happen. Possibility is quiet. Once things become defined, they become limited. Silence holds infinite directions. Noise commits to one. This is why the universe began silently. Not because it had to, but because silence keeps options open. Even now, most of the universe has not chosen a story. It remains dark, empty, undecided. And maybe that is okay. Maybe existence does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. Maybe the most important thing the universe ever did was simply allow time to pass. Time is the universe's greatest creation. Not seconds, not minutes, but duration. Duration allows healing. Duration allows growth. Duration allows mistakes. Without time, nothing can soften. The silent birth gave the universe time, and time gave us this moment. You listening, nothing else is required. The universe has always preferred balance. Not perfection, not symmetry. Balance. Too much energy, and nothing can settle. Too little energy, and nothing can move. The early universe hovered between these extremes, hot enough to change, calm enough to last. This balance is fragile, and yet, it held. Even now, the universe constantly moves toward balance. Energy spreads out. Differences fade. Sharp edges soften. This is why things age. Why stars burn out. Why excitement cools. Why storms pass. Nothing stays concentrated forever. This process is called entropy. But entropy is not decay. Entropy is relaxation. It is the universe letting go. The silent birth of the universe was the first act of letting go. Instead of remaining compressed, everything loosened. Space stretched. Energy spread. Structure became possible. Imagine holding your fist tightly for too long. Eventually, you must open it. The universe opened. And when it opened, things could rearrange. This rearrangement never stopped. Every second, atoms shift, cells adjust, stars change, galaxies drift. Nothing is frozen, not even silence. Silence itself is dynamic. The silence of space is not emptiness. It is motion without sound. Waves of gravity ripple. Light travels vast distances. Particles appear and disappear. Yet none of this is audible. The universe does not need to announce itself. Humans, however, often do. We fill silence quickly, with noise, with thought, with explanation. Silence makes us uneasy because it removes distraction. In silence, we notice time, and time reminds us that things change. The universe never feared change. It embraced it from the very first moment. But it embraced change slowly. This slowness is something humans struggle with. We live short lives inside a very long story, and because of that, we often mistake small moments for final ones. But the universe does not end abruptly. It fades. It transitions. It drifts from one state to another. Even its beginning was not sharp. There was no clear boundary between non-existence and existence. There was a gradual unfolding. This challenges how we think. We like clear starts, clear endings. The universe prefers gradients. Night becoming morning, heat becoming warmth, chaos becoming structure. Everything slides. And maybe this is why the universe feels calming when we stop trying to define it. Definitions freeze things. The universe avoids being frozen. Even galaxies are temporary. Even atoms will eventually break apart. Nothing resists time forever. And this is not tragic. It is gentle. Imagine a river. It does not mourn the water that passes. It simply continues flowing. The universe flows. You flow with it. Your body replaces itself. Over time, your thoughts change. Your memories soften. You are not a fixed object inside a moving universe. You are a moving pattern inside a moving pattern. This realization can be unsettling, but it can also be comforting, because if nothing is fixed, then nothing is permanently broken. Even the universe's beginning was not perfect. It was uneven, slightly imbalanced. Those tiny imperfections became galaxies. Perfection creates nothing. Imbalance creates everything. The silent birth of the universe was not flawless. It was slightly off. And that was enough. Enough for stars. Enough for chemistry. Enough for thought. Enough for this moment. Right now, you do not need to be complete. You do not need to be resolved. You only need to exist within the flow. Just like the universe did. When it began, it did not know what it would become. It simply allowed. The next moment, you can do the same. There is no rush. The universe waited billions of years before creating light. You are allowed to wait too. We will continue even deeper. We are still far from 2 hours, and that is okay. There is something important about how humans react to silence. When everything becomes quiet, the mind starts to move. Thoughts appear. Memories surface. Questions arise. This is not accidental. Silence creates space, and space invites awareness. The universe's silence did the same thing. By being quiet, it allowed patterns to appear. Noise hides structure. Silence reveals it. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Voices overlap. Movement distracts. Nothing is clear. Then imagine that room empty. Still. You notice details. Shadows. Time. The universe began as an empty room. Not literally empty, but free of distraction. In that quiet, small differences mattered. Tiny variations grew. Structure slowly emerged. If the universe had been loud, everything would have blended together. Silence gave contrast. Contrast gave form. Form gave identity. Identity eventually gave rise to observers. And observers created meaning. Meaning does not exist without someone to notice. The universe existed long before meaning, and it will exist long after meaning fades. Meaning is local, temporary, fragile. But that does not make it false. A flame is temporary, yet it still gives warmth. A thought is temporary, yet it still feels real. The universe does not preserve things forever. It allows them for a while. This while is everything to us. Human lives feel urgent because they are brief. Cosmic events feel calm because they are slow. Neither perspective is wrong. They simply operate on different scales. When we feel anxious, it is often because we are measuring ourselves against the wrong clock. We judge a human life by cosmic standards, but the universe never asked us to do that. From the universe's perspective, even stars are brief, yet stars still shine. They do not hesitate, because they will end. They burn steadily. They follow physics. They do not wonder if they are enough. They simply exist until they don't. The universe never panics about its own ending. It does not rush to complete itself. It expands without expectation. This teaches us something subtle. Peace does not come from permanence. Peace comes from alignment. When you align with the flow of things, resistance fades. The universe aligned with itself from the beginning. Its laws do not argue. Gravity pulls. Energy spreads. Time moves forward. There is no confusion. Humans, however, create conflict internally. We want stillness, but demand movement. We want meaning, but fear silence. We want answers, but resist uncertainty. The universe had none of these conflicts. It accepted uncertainty as its natural state. In the beginning, nothing knew what it would become. That was not a problem. That was freedom. Even now, the universe does not know its final shape. There are theories, possibilities, models, but no certainty. And yet, it continues calmly. Uncertainty does not paralyze it. It unfolds anyway. This is something we can learn. You do not need a complete plan to move forward. The universe didn't have one. You do not need guarantees. The universe never received any. It simply followed. The next moment, expansion followed compression. Cooling followed heat. Structure followed chaos. Each step emerged from the last. No blueprint, just continuity. Right now, you are part of that continuity. Your breath is a small expansion. Your exhale is a release. The same pattern repeats everywhere. Breathing mirrors expansion. Rest mirrors cooling. Sleep mirrors cosmic silence. Sleep is not shutdown. Sleep is maintenance. The universe slept for hundreds of millions of years before stars formed. Darkness was not failure. Darkness was preparation. Maybe that is why sleep feels safe when we let it, because deep down, your body remembers a quiet universe, a time before urgency, a time before identity, just existence. We will continue. There is still much time, much silence, much depth to explore. There is a reason why silence feels so close to sleep. Sleep is not unconsciousness. It is reduced resistance. When you sleep, your body stops trying to control everything. Muscles release. Thoughts loosen. Time loses its sharp edges. The early universe was in a similar state. It was not inactive. It was unforced. Nothing was competing. Nothing was rushing. Nothing was late. Change happened only when conditions were ready. Stars did not form until matter cooled enough. Life did not form until chemistry stabilized enough. Thought did not form until nervous systems slowed enough. Nothing was skipped. The universe never hurried to become interesting. It allowed boredom long stretches of nothing, darkness lasting millions of years, stillness lasting even longer. From a human perspective, this feels unbearable. But from a cosmic perspective, this is normal. Most of existence is not exciting. Most of existence is subtle. Quiet change is the default. We often misunderstand growth. We think growth must feel intense, but true growth is often invisible. While it is happening, the universe grew for billions of years before anyone noticed. Even now, growth is hard to see. Galaxies drift apart so slowly that no human will ever watch it happen. Stars age too slowly to notice moment by moment. Yet change is constant. This teaches patience. Not passive patience, but deep patience. The kind of patience that does not wait for reward. The universe does not expect a conclusion. It does not build toward a climax. It simply continues. Stories need endings. Reality does not. This is why the universe feels different from human stories. There is no villain, no hero, no final victory, just process. And processes do not judge themselves. They do not ask if they are meaningful. Meaning appears only when someone watches. When consciousness emerged, meaning followed. But the universe did not change its behavior. It remained neutral. It allowed meaning without requiring it. This neutrality is misunderstood as emptiness. But neutrality is generous. It gives freedom. It allows each observer to interpret existence in their own way. Nothing is enforced. No belief is mandatory. No purpose is assigned. You are not failing if you do not know why you are here. The universe does not know either. And that is not a flaw. That is openness. The silent birth of the universe did not include instructions. It did not define outcomes. It only created conditions. Everything else emerged naturally, just like thoughts. A thought does not arrive because you order it. It arises when conditions align. Silence, space, time. Your mind mirrors the universe more than you realize. When your mind is noisy, nothing clear forms. When your mind is quiet, patterns appear. Insights surface. Not because you forced them, but because silence allowed them. This is why calm moments feel profound. They resemble the universe's beginning. Quiet, open, undefined. Nothing demanding attention. Just awareness resting in possibility. Right now, you are closer to the universe's original state than you think. You are lying still, listening, letting thoughts slow. This is not inactivity. This is alignment. Alignment with something ancient, something that existed long before language, before identity, before questions. Existence itself was already enough. It still is. You do not need to add anything to this moment. You do not need to solve anything. The universe did not. It simply continued. And you can too. Humans are uncomfortable with emptiness. We rush to fill gaps. Silence with sound. Darkness with light. Stillness with movement. But emptiness is not a flaw. Emptiness is the starting condition. Before the universe had formed, it had openness. Not a literal nothing, but a state without structure. Structure requires contrast. Contrast requires space. And space requires emptiness. So emptiness is not the opposite of existence. Emptiness is what makes existence possible. When the universe expanded, it did not fill space. It created space. And that space allowed things to separate. Separation allowed identity. Identity allowed interaction. Interaction allowed complexity. Without emptiness, everything would remain, collapsed into sameness. No stars, no planets, no distance, no perspective. Emptiness gave the universe room to breathe. Just like pauses give music its meaning, a song without pauses becomes noise. A life without rest becomes exhaustion. The universe understood this. From the very beginning, it paused often. Long pauses. Millions of years. Where almost nothing happened. From a human view, this feels wasteful. But nothing was wasted. Those quiet periods were necessary. They allowed energy to cool, matter to settle, patterns to stabilize. Rushing this process would have destroyed everything. So the universe waited. Waiting is not passive. Waiting is trust. The universe trusted its own laws. Gravity would work when it was time. Fusion would ignite when conditions allowed. Life would appear when chemistry was ready. No forcing, no impatience. This patience is deeply unfamiliar to us. We want results now. We want clarity quickly. But clarity arrives slowly. Just like the universe. Think about understanding. Real understanding does not arrive in a sudden burst. It forms quietly. Fragments connect. Insights settle. Confusion softens. Often, you only realize you understand something after the noise fades. The universe learned itself the same way, by unfolding, not by knowing. Knowledge is local. The universe does not know itself in total. It only expresses itself, and occasionally, that expression becomes aware. You are one of those moments, a temporary window, where the universe looks back at itself. This awareness is brief, not because it is unimportant, but because nothing lasts forever. Impermanence is not cruelty. Impermanence is generosity. If things lasted forever, nothing new could appear. If stars never died, elements would never spread. If old patterns never ended, new ones could not form. The universe makes room by letting go. Endings are how space is created. Even the beginning was an ending. The ending of compression. The ending of sameness. The beginning of openness. This cycle never stopped. Expansion continues. Cooling continues. Letting go continues. And one day, far beyond anything we can imagine, the universe will be mostly quiet again. Not empty of existence. Empty of activity. A deep, cosmic rest. Not punishment. Not failure. Just completion. Until then, there is movement, thought, experience. Moments like this. Moments where nothing needs to happen. Where awareness can simply rest. Right now, you are allowed to do what the universe did. At the beginning, nothing. No effort. No goal. Just being. This is not wasted time. This is foundational time. The same kind of time that allowed everything else to emerge. There is a quiet paradox at the heart of existence. Nothingness is never truly stable. When there is absolute stillness, change eventually follows. The early universe was not forced into motion. Motion emerged because stillness cannot hold forever. This is not violence. It is balance correcting itself. Even silence contains tension. Even emptiness holds possibility. This is why the universe did not remain unchanging. Not because something pushed it, but because potential naturally seeks expression. Think about a thought. You cannot command a thought to appear. But when your mind is quiet long enough, something eventually arises. Not chosen, just appearing. The universe behaved the same way. Silence gave rise to fluctuation. Tiny variations. Barely anything. Yet enough. These fluctuations were the seeds of everything. Galaxies began as almost nothing. Stars began as slight imbalances. Life began as repeated patterns. Consciousness began as awareness without direction. Nothing dramatic, just subtle shifts. We often expect beginnings to be loud, but true beginnings are quiet, because noise requires structure. Silence comes first. The universe whispered itself into existence, and it continues to whisper. Most of what happens, in reality, happens without attention. No witnesses, no memory. Only later does meaning appear. This challenges how we think about importance. We assume that being noticed makes something real, but most real things are never noticed. Gravity does not need applause. Time does not need acknowledgement. The universe does not need validation. It continues regardless. This can be unsettling or comforting. It means you are not responsible for holding everything together. Existence does not depend on your effort. You are allowed to rest without guilt. The universe rests constantly. Long periods of inactivity are normal. Civilizations rise and fall quickly compared to stars. Stars rise and fall quickly compared to galaxies. Galaxies rise and fall quickly compared to cosmic time. Everything is brief from a larger perspective, and yet everything matters within its own scale. Your thoughts matter to you. Your presence matters to the moment. That is enough. You do not need cosmic significance. The universe did not seek it. It simply unfolded. When you stop trying to make everything meaningful, meaning softens. It becomes gentle, less heavy, less urgent. This softness is closer to truth than certainty. The universe does not provide certainty. It provides conditions. Certainty is a human desire. Reality is comfortable with ambiguity. The silent birth of the universe was ambiguous. No clear boundary, no explanation, just a transition. And maybe life itself is also a transition, not from something to something else, but from silence back to silence, with experience in between. There is no need to rush through experience. The universe didn't. It lingered. It waited. It allowed. And here you are, allowed, breathing, listening, existing. Nothing else required. At the end of all this thinking, there is something simple. The universe quietly teaches. Nothing needs to be forced. The universe did not force itself into existence. It unfolded. It did not demand meaning. Meaning appeared when minds appeared. And even now, meaning is optional. You are allowed to exist without explanation. Just like the early universe, there was no purpose written into the first moment. Only possibility. And possibility does not hurry. It waits. It allows. Eventually, everything returns to a simpler state. Not erased, just softened. Stars fade. Galaxies drift. Heat spreads. Motion slows. The universe becomes quiet again. Not empty, just calm. This ending is not something to fear. It is rest after a very long process. And rest is not failure. Rest is completion. Right now, as you listen, you are doing something very natural. You are slowing down. Your thoughts are becoming lighter. Your breathing is becoming easier. This is how the universe behaves. When it has nothing left to prove. You do not need to solve existence tonight. You do not need to understand everything. The universe never asked that of you. It only allowed you to be here for a while. And that is enough. If your eyes feel heavy, let them close. If your thoughts drift, let them drift. You are not losing focus. You are aligning with something ancient. The same silence that existed before the first light. The same silence that will exist long after the last star fades. And in between those silences, this moment, quiet, still, safe. Nothing else needs to happen. Just rest. Inside the vastness. Let the universe continue on its own. It always has.